एटा केते नंबर पेज एन जायतला
सर 143 बोले इतला 143 ना 134 तो 134 देखले उठो कर्सर
introducing SQL cursor. SQL cursor. A cursor is a pointer to the private memory area allocated by the Oracle server. It is used to handle the result set of a select statement. Right? Cursor माने मोर control. Control टा मोर कोठी केमिति मोर executed हो. Right? But there are two types of cursor, that is implicit cursor and explicit cursor. Implicit cursor created and managed internally by the Oracle server to process SQL statement. Explicit cursor declare explicitly by the programmer, right? देखो कौन सा you have already learned that you can include SQL statement that return a single row in a PLSQL block. The data retrieved by the SQL statement should be held in variable using the into clause. इपर्यंत हम जानले जे मोर रिट्रीव करिया पे हेले वेरिएबल गोटे डिक्लेयर करिया पड़ो कॉलम रे वैल्यू टाको रिट्रीव करी हम वेरिएबल रे स्टोर करी देन मु ताको आउटपुट शो कर करी. Where does the Oracle server process SQL statements? The Oracle server allocate a private memory are called the context area for processing SQL statement. The SQL statement is passed and proceed in this area. The information required for processing and the information retrieved after processing are all stored in this area. You have no control over this area because it is internally managed by the by the Oracle server. A cursor is a pointer to the context area. However, this cursor is an implicit cursor and is automatically managed by the Oracle server. When the executable block issue, a SQL statement PLSQL create an implicit cursor. Types of cursor. There are two types of cursor. Implicit cursor कौन देखा? An implicit cursor is created and managed by the Oracle server. You do not have access to it. Oracle server creates such a cursor when it is has executed a SQL statement. এটা হচ্ছে অটোমেটিকলি মোর কার্সর মোর ক্রিয়েট হুয়ে যেটা মোর SQL স্টেটমেন্ট দেখো মোর ওরাকল যেটা মোর রান করা যায় মানে এক্সিকিউট করা যায় সেটা অটোমেটিকলি মোর ওরাকল সার্ভার তার কার্সরটা ক্রিয়েট করে. Explicit cursor, as a programmer you may want to retrieve multiple rows from the database table जोटा कि तमे पचारथलो, right? Multiple row आमे केमते retrieve करिबा. Have a pointer to each row that is retrieved and work on the rows one at a time. In such a case, you can declare cursor explicit depending on your business requirement. A cursor that is declared by a programmer is called the explicit cursor. You declare such a cursor in the declarative section of a PLSQL block. SQL cursor attributes for implicit cursor. Using SQL cursor attribute, you can test the outcome of your SQL statement. That is SQL percentile found Boolean attribute that evaluate to true if the most recent SQL statement affected at least one row. SQL percent not found Boolean attribute that evaluate to true if the most recent SQL statement did not affect even one row, right? Eta one row re affect habo, eta more than one row re affect habo. SQL percent row count, an integer value that represented the number of rows affected by the most recent SQL statement. माने तमे केतेरा रिट्रीव कलो केतेरा रो रिट्रीव कलो से नंबर टा काउंट करी से देबो. SQL cursor attribute for implicit cursor. SQL cursor attribute enable you to evaluate what happened when the when an implicit cursor was last used. Use this attribute in PLSQL statement but not in SQL statement. You can test the SQL personnel row count, SQL personnel found, and SQL personnel not found attribute in the executable section of a block to gather information after the appropriate DML command executable. PLSQL does not return an error if a DML statement does not affect row in the underlying table. However, if select statement does not retrieve any row, PLSQL return an exception. Observe that the attributes are prefixed with SQL. These cursor attributes are used with implicit cursor that are automatically created by PLSQL and for which you do not know the name. Therefore, you use SQL instead of the cursor name. The SQL percentile not found attribute is the opposite of SQL percentile found. This attribute may be used as the exit condition in a loop. It is useful in updated and delete statement when no row are changed because exceptions are not written in this case. You learn about explicit cursor attribute तार on explicit cursor जो चैप्टर टा आसो सेतरे हमें जानिबा explicit cursor टा मोर विषय हैला SQL cursor attribute for implicit cursor delete row that have the specified employee ID from the employees table print the number of rows deleted केतरा नंबर तमर डिलीट हैला सेटा तमु काउंट करी तमु से दबो तो सेटा केमति हबो देखो डिक्लेयर variable declare कला row deleted तार size data type दला varchar 2 employee number सेटा मोर assign करदला मोर केते 176 right delete from employees table ru where employee id equal to v employee number right माने एटा मोर assign है employee id then सी कोन गला v row deleted assign करियो कोन SQL percentile row count एटा जदि मु यूज करबी ताले केतरा रो मोर डिलीट हैला सेटा मते शो करबो कोन dbms output dot output put underscore line रे मोर सेटा डिस्प्ले करबो बुझला
रो काउंट करो
SQL cursor attribute for implicit cursor. The example in the slide delete a row with employee ID 176 from employees table. Using the SQL percentile row count attribute, you can print the number of rows to be deleted. This practice covers the following topics: selecting data from a table, inserting data into a table, updating data in a table, delete a record from a table. माने এই সেশনে আমি যাতে সিলেক্ট কেমতি করিব, ইনসার্ট কেমতি করিব, আপডেট কেমতি করিব এন্ড ডিলিট কেমতি করিব, রাইট টেবল উপরে। রাইটিং কন্ট্রোল স্ট্রাকচার এটা আমি শুক্রবার দিন করিবা, রাইট सेशन हम शुक्रवार दिन करिया शुक्रवार दिन मु तुमको प्रैक्टिकल येटा देबी काली हबनी क्लास शुक्रवार दिन मु तुमको प्रैक्टिकल सेक्शन टा देबी जेम तमर एसक्यूएल रे जेम देथिली सेम सेक्शन टा मु तुमको एक्जिक्यूट करके देखे हला आ इसे प्रैक्टिकल उडा सला परे 5th नंबर चैप्टर टा स्टार्ट करियो। थैंक यू।